previously on Willis Raburu.
Breaking news.
As I stand before you, I am filled with a profound sense of gratitude and nostalgia. I've been to the mountaintop, like Martin Luther King Jr. said. If I'm to go back to Nairobi County, I don't know if Mr. Sachs or Midimpos atakubali, but they have deliberately told Ivy, Wewelala, I want to be the one to get these kids ready for school. So the graveyard is a place where there's a lot of potential because people die with a lot of the stuff that they have not yet done. And his dream at the time of that interview, he said he just wants to make sure he's used every single thing, that gift that God has put in his heart. And that's my dream as well.
Are you a Gen Z or a millennial?
Well, I'm a Gen Millennial.
Oh!
I'm a Genelio.
What are you most proud of this generation?
I'm proud. We are in an era for our Gen Z. I'm very proud of them because we are in an era where we, for all intents and purposes, changed the national conversation and even international conversation because we are not afraid to stand up for what we believe in. We changed the views of people who thought they were speaking for us and told them that we have a voice as well and we deserve to be listened to. And we made a president actually do his job because he's a representative of the people as well. So he listened to the people, albeit for a short window of time, because, well, now it's a whole different story. But for that period of time, it served as a testament to what we can do if we all just band together and stand together. And what had happened was it brought forth, the other thing was that it unified all the generations, right? So at first, parents are not understanding it and they're like, it's going to street. But that defiance of still going and then being in the street where, so you're there, you turn, Willis Raburu. You turn, Abel Mutua. You turn, parents were actually with their kids there as well. You turn, Faith, the lawyer is out there, so institutions are represented, LSK chair is there. You turn this side, the police are there, as much as on Wafinya, and, Matusis wamekuja, so I just don't want to say it, but yeah, to the police. And yet, when people go back home, you're like, you know what, look at that, look at all those people who came out to say something. And whether they like to admit it or not, the government felt it. And the result, and even what is happening now, is a result of them now retreating to protect themselves, thinking that it won't happen again. But the same way it happened is the same way it can happen again. So I'm very proud that they showed the world, basically, that if you sing verse that Mordecai was telling Esther in the Bible, that if you keep quiet, then deliverance will come from somewhere else. But who knows if you've been called for such a time as this. So just the fact that people are quiet, deliverance can still come from somewhere else. And if this was one wave, imagine wave two. Like the way we at events, kuna wave one, wave two na gate. Hiyo ni wave one, alafu wave two. Sasa, by the time tutafika kwa gate, one to you. Yeah, so it's time to change. So I'd come from huko ndani huko Masaini. I was doing a story called Rites of Passage. I did chapter 1 and chapter 2. At that time I was an intern. Interns at that time were not allowed to travel out of Nairobi to do stories, and simply because of just the complications of travel insurance and pia per diem. So I pushed with a cameraman called Steve Shitera and my colleague called Mohammed Mahmoud, and we went and did this story of the Rites of Passage, and we were there with all the dancing, the drinking of the blood, the eating of the raw meat, all of that process was documented. And I went and I did it, and one of my bosses called Peter Opondo was very strict on writing to picture, and I love writing. And so when I wrote that script, 2 parts, and the stories went on air, and then, so this time I was sitting every morning, there's a meeting in the newsroom, so I'm sitting right there at the back of the newsroom on my phone, Because I'm like, anyway, I'm an intern, so I don't even know if I'll be assigned a story today. And then, so I hear him, he starts saying that, you people, not everybody is pulling their weight and things are tough and all this stuff. But that boy, I was like, whoa. So then everybody turned. I was like, wait. So I was like, yes? So I said, that boy, he did a good job, and that's why we're going to give him a job. I was like, what? That's how I felt inside. I was like, oh my God. I was like, wow. It was such a full circle moment for me, because it meant that, wow, I've been doing something right. And that day, because I did that story, I think because I was afraid of sleeping because I was in jail. Because you know what? Wanalala Jays, man, outside, man, we outside. And it's cold in that mug. Okay, yeah. It was cold. So we slept in the car. We were eating raw meat. It was such a, for me, then pia kuambiwa maybe nazarudi kwa studio na hii stories you make. There were so many things, but the fact that happened, it just showed me, and that's something I hold up to today, that if you actually work hard, if you put your best foot forward, if you put excellence in what you do, and then if you're consistent, it pays off at the end. Yeah, for me, that was the defining moment. The other one was when I was at the front line, when I was in Operation Linda Inchi, when we were in Somalia. Let me tell you, kama kuna time nimeomba. I think tulikuwa naongea na Mungu karibu kila 5 minutes. Na ukumbuke niko hapa. Because again, that's you're in the front line. There is no atio kitanda nini, unachimba andaki, unalala kule ndani. If an attack comes, everybody get information. Kila mtu wako information, it was life and death, and then also to experience how the soldiers actually live in those conditions, and it gave me a perspective into the kind of their wiring, and just that, protecting this country is hard. And that's why it's sad that the police take out their frustrations on people under some, yes, orders are important, but still, you are a human being, you have will, So for me, that was such a defining moment for me, because it could have gone anyway, especially when, like, the 2 or 3 times we came under attack, it would have gone anyway. But, thanks to those brave soldiers, and thanks to God, really, that we are still here today. Oh man, my relationship with God, we tight. We talk every day. Mimi na Mungu tuko salama sana. And I'd like to correct a misconception of what happened there. So I didn't say that the church JCC wronged me. I say the church system, the way it was set up at that time, and probably still today, if they hear about divorce, of course they'll try to fight it. It didn't help that I was, let's say, well known, and in church I would, like I said, sit there behind the pastor, and people knew I was close to the pastors. So to some human level, not even just because of the way to look at the outside, they had to be like, okay, so what's wrong? Can we not fix this? Yeah. But also kuna hakuna haiwezekani, lazima watu warudia. But I think over time, when everybody now gets back to, when you remember that, people are individuals and you have to give people their space to make decisions, over time, all that was mended and things became okay. So I would just ask, that nobody gets into any marriage to get a divorce, right? So I just ask normally that for people who are going through it, to just be extended some grace, and there are people who you're not meant to be, unfortunately. And there's some who you will say we're going to get a divorce, and then you mend up and you muko sawa. Yeah, some even get remarried after, but you just have to give people that time and that grace to keep on going. Yeah. So my relationship with God, it's amazing, and I really do thank my parents, because again, as scripture says, train up a child when he's young, and when he grows up he won't depart from it. When you plant that seed on somebody's a child, and they just know that God is there. I believe that everybody, no matter what God you pray to, there is a God-shaped void in everybody's heart that only God can fill. You can fill it with anything else: drugs, alcohol, sex, women, men, everything. But that one is only Him. And there are some things that happen in your life that you know that if it wasn't for the grace of God, you wouldn't have made it. And that's, for me, that's just my own life. I know that if it's not for the grace of God, yes, I'm talented, yes, I've seen an opportunity and seized it, but if there was no sprinkle of God, if it was not His hand over my life, then there is no Willis Raburu. That's like on point and period, that I don't exist without Him, and I attribute all of my success to God. Yeah, I would be lying if I say I'd be lying if I say my dad was a former provincial commissioner, so at that front we're okay. But of course, kuna community. Yeah, man, there's no immunity from the community. And just even if, like today, if I open my phones are there, but if you open, people's needs change with where you are in life. So when I was an intern and I was just starting out, I was just getting kidogo airtime on TV and kidogo, what is it, notoriety, just kidogo fame, guys would ask me kidogo. But as it grew, especially post 10/10 pale, oh my Lord, DMs zilikuwa zinajaa, nisaidie tu basi, wewe ni mse wetu, nisaidie nini. And some are very genuine, but then again you have to be careful, because again you can give. It's not financial wisdom, and then you can't tell which one is genuine, which one is not. But I always say that sometimes if you are a natural giver, if that's just who you are, and anytime you feel like that hesitation, then because you're normally a natural giver, don't do it. It's just your discernment telling you, okay, see who you, this one might not be genuine. And there are some people who by then they can package. Watu wa soap opera, we wanaweza fanya package, usikie hadi wakutumia picha of things. There's a time somebody wanted some help with getting into a house, and I was like, okay, cool. So what I'm going to do is I will do 3 months. I'll pay your initial rent deposit, and then I'll do 3 months. But after 3 months, you have to, because I was saying, I've come from my parents, blah, blah, blah. I've come to Nairobi. So I said, okay, fine. Rent deposit in 3 months. I'll give you 3 months to now sort yourself, because you've come to work. Haujakuja kufanya kitu kingine. So you're working. So for the first 3 months, I'll show Nairobi kuchape. Ingia ni chape. Ikuchape. I'll be there. Then nikamwambia everything was okay until I said nitumie details ya landlord. Sasa akasema ni sawa, akasema sawa na kutumia, na akatuma. Sasa sijui kama alikuwa amesahau ya kwamba you get that name up there, right? So kutuma akatumia hapo sijui nani hardware huko Kiabu na kwa Nairobi. Nikamwambia sasa huko ni wapi? Hapa pala nimeona landlord ana till, nikasema nitumie till ya mtu mwenye najua. So I think it's just being deliberate. What I do, and Chris Kirwa taught me this as well. He said, what you do is you can pick on, you can say this year, of course, because we are meant to help people. Yeah, that is when that's what God desires. God loves people more than anything. So you can set in your mind and say, this year, this is my budget to help people. And this is funerals, this is hospital bills, this is all that. You can set that aside. Or you can say, every month I'll be giving towards that orphanage and that home. And they feed 50, 60, 100 people. And if I give my small contribution, I'm contributing to them feeding those said people, right? And that's done that way. That's what I do. So in the entertainment space, I didn't know much about the... so I started with the reporting and stuff. So in the reporting phase, I used to look up to Johnson Mokazi. When I was watching him, that was when I was in campus. Johnson Mokazi, and just because it was very, I beg your pardon, ladies and gentlemen, today, the news begins with a sad story. Yeah, so it was him and of course Jeff Koinange, because Jeff, I had watched him on CNN and I was just saying, wow, this guy, he came back and he was, his delivery and he's just himself. And that's what I was craving. I was like, I want somebody who's just themselves and they have no apologies about it. So looking up to Jeff. In the entertainment space, at the time, I used to look up to Larry Mado because of just the way he's, again, notice people who are delivery is different. Even when he was at the Trend or even before when he was at different places, his delivery was just different. And that's what I used to like as well. So internationally, I used to watch a lot of Oprah. Oprah, Ellen, And then once I discovered Tyler Perry, that was it. So, yeah. And if you notice, all the people that I've mentioned, I think that's the quality I look for. If you can be yourself, and if you can especially be yourself in spite of and despite of things, and you stick to who you are, no matter what people are saying, the noise, then yeah, you're right up my alley. Yep.
Have you ever Googled yourself?
Oh yeah. I have Googled myself at different times. I don't do it now though, but I've set up Google Alerts. So if you mention me anywhere on the net, I'll get an email notification just to be safe, yo. People be crazy. But I've not Googled myself recently. But when I did, man, there was a time when everything was just about, my relationship that didn't work. So that was a depressing time. And then at some point when nilikuwa na maskenderi huku awali, when in my reporting phase as well, not really scandals, but just when people were not used to reporters expressing themselves, and so I was trending just because of saying things. Some, I dare say, in hindsight, I shouldn't have said and it was wrong, in just of the thinking, but again, people grow. So those times, nilikuwa najigoogle nasema, we? Sasa hata kama kuna potential employer and Google, the first page imejatuma vitu. But yeah, I thank God, I guess now it's not so bad. Now iko sawa. Yeah. Do I regret anything? Yes and no. But mostly now knowing what pain does to an individual, I would say no. Because it's helped me become the person I am today. However, when I say yes is now I know that I should have done a lot of things better. Yeah, but then I guess that's the yin and yang of life. That sometimes sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. But the biggest thing that I think for me is that I wanted to make mistakes for myself. Because remember, I told you that sometimes when you're in this space and this bubble, you feel like everybody's making decisions for you. You can't be sad because, hey, you're Willis, you're a happy guy. You can't do this because, again, you're Willis and we expect this of you. So there are these different expectations. So all I wanted was just a chance to make my own decision. And if I fail, then I've failed because, I've failed spectacularly. And it was because I decided, not because I felt pressure to do something, but I decided. That way, you get to learn. But if you do it for other people, I'm not going to scare to delulu at the end of the day. Yeah. By the way, I was telling somebody, we were having a conversation about social media, and I was just saying, and actually I was talking about two of my friends, Terence and Millie. Yeah, if you look at their social media pages, they are very active. However, think about it this way, is that anybody, not even just them, and I admire them, the way they post their content, and I'm trying to get there. But everybody on social media only shows you the things they want you to see, including if you post a video of you crying. You're showing people that kwa hii video nilikuwa nilie ndo musikie sympathy. My question is always, what if ufinye na umemaliza kulia alafu realize huko na record, utasema take two, let's take that from the top. Itakuwa ngori. But online, everybody shows you what it is that they want to. So people do not know everything about Willis. They think they know, but it's what I've presented to you. That's what you need. You don't know the days when I'm having a bad day, but I'm posting a good quote. You don't know when I'm having a good day, but I'm posting a bad quote. You can never really know, because once I put it on the camera, it's action. Yeah, but we try to be as authentic as we can. The only thing the things that people don't know about me is, number one, which again, people think I'm joking when I say this, but I'm really a shy guy. You see?
Are you?
I am really a shy guy. Like, if I get into a place, even just this office, if I walk in and everybody's seated, I'm not gonna go through there. Or I'll do what I've done now. I'll wear shades so that eye contact is not as intense. Yeah. Oh, and I fear spiders. Yeah. Well, I would like my legacy to be somebody who helped people and listened to people. And so that when people are around my space, and when I say listen, it's not just listen like, what do you have to say? It's listen in terms of to actually hear where this person is coming from. I want to know, like, this thought, this action, what is the genesis of it? Maybe it's because of the therapy I've been going through or hanging out with my therapist for a while, but I really do think that if people just actually listened, you could say you're unfair, right? That's great. That's, you've expressed yourself, but what made you feel that I am unfair? Well, let's deal with that, not what you've said, because what you've said could be a result of anger, happiness, frustration, emotion, etc. But listen. Then number 2, to help people, because like I said, God loves you more than anything, and I don't think you're living well in this life until you've actually helped somebody else. And even for the Christians, there's a popular saying that Christianity is a beggar showing another beggar where they got the bread. So I really do want to help people. I want to show people where the bread at. Yeah, so you can get the bread, take the bag, and secure both of them. Get some bread in the bag, and we're in there. Yeah, so that's what I want people to remember me. That's my legacy. Yeah.